Mike Sautter here with a practice report from Bellevue West. I've always done these in the past, 3 knowns, 3 unknowns, and going to add a little breakout player here for you too. A couple names that popped today at practice, but the first position group that is a known is clearly quarterback. Danny Kalen is the number one guy. I'm pretty sure we all know that. Can he improve on the 3,186 passing yards, 36 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions from last year? Yeah, he probably can. He also had 175 rushing yards last year. I think he improves that. I like what I saw from him with a little. There's some QB run game that's going to be involved. I'm pretty sure for Bellevue West this year. Will Anderson comes over from Millard West, the sophomore. Look for him maybe in some package situations, and I think he gets some playing time, and he's a really promising athlete. Next, the other known as far as known positions is the wide receiver group. Obviously, you have Isaiah McMorris, who had almost 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns. Davon Hall, almost a 1,000-yard receiver, 974 last year and 11 touchdowns. Both could maybe hit 1,000 yards receiving. We'll see. But a couple of guys to really keep an eye on for Bellevue West. Ben Goodwater had a nice day. It's first day of practice, but he had a nice day. If he can give them a little more productivity out of the slot than he did last year, 272 yards and 3 touchdowns, I think he'll be huge for them. Another couple of names. Jermaine Green's a sophomore, speedster, track guy on the outside, can really take the top off of defense. He's a name. And TJ Whaley is a guy to keep an eye on, but we'll touch on him in a little bit. Offensive line, I think, is another known for the T-Birds. I think it's a solid group. They returned 8 of 11. From last year. Jacob Aropa is a guy playing right tackle, but Bryce Luring is a junior, and he's maybe one of the best linemen in the area. Probably a all Metro-y type of guy at least. Jeff Kuzman's another one. Kunzman is another one, and Ryland Schwintz is another offensive lineman for them. They like the group of offensive linemen here. It's just a matter of, hey, can they stay healthy and block just a little bit for that offense and that high-powered offense at that. Unknown, we're going to go. The unknowns aren't names we don't know. It's just, hey, who fills those position groups from last year? We have CJ Goff returning. He's the leading returning rusher. But Charlie Gwinner's another one. Got hurt last year. I don't know if people remember that, but he got hurt in the first play of the year against Prep last year. Those two, if they can stay healthy, they really like that group. They're pretty versatile. CJ Goff had 559 rushing yards last year in sort of a backup-y role. So I think that's a group that they like, but it's still unknown because how far does it go, right? Like how much can they get out of those couple of guys and not have to move people around? The front seven, the defense is an unknown because it's a new defensive coordinator, which looks to be a little more aggressive, I think, this year. The front line, you have Stanley Hayter. He's a junior. He's coming back. He is the leading return guy for tackles for loss for Bellevue West from last year. Come off of last year, had 5.5 and 2 sacks and 23 tackles. He's going to need to be big. Chris Lawson's another one. Aiden Morris is a guy who had 4 tackles for loss last year. Their front is deep, and I like it. But a name that you're going to want to know is Paulo Dudoit. I think that's how you pronounce it. Pono Dudoit transferred in from Henderson, Nevada. He's going to play probably weak side defensive end for them. He's going to get after the passer. I feel like they're very much so going to be a little bit more aggressive on defense than they saw last year. Obviously, a change in defensive coordinators if you didn't know that. Dylan Sheard is an outside linebacker, going to be a guy for them too. The linebacker group is really how they use Asher Jenkins is going to be important. Asher Jenkins is probably the best, most versatile defensive player, I'll say, for the T-Birds this year. He had 56 tackles last year, 8.5 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks. They're going to use him in a variety of different ways. Weak side, outside, strong side, outside linebacker, weak side, inside linebacker. They could use him a lot. He could drop in coverage as safety. He's their most versatile defender. Another thing, DB is kind of an unknown just because of youth and maybe some inexperience. But Caprice Keith had a great day in 7-on-7. portion of the practice. Arif Evans is another guy that could be, a nice safety looking for. But Caprice Keith, the sophomore defensive back, will both Evans and Keith are sophomores, and I think clearly have a bright future. But man, Caprice Keith had 2 interceptions in 7-on-7. Let's go with a couple of breakout guys that I think Bellevue West can have this year. Kenny Bryant is a corner. He transferred back in, moved away, military stuff. So he moved back in, or transferred back to Bellevue West. He looks to be a starter at one of the cornerback positions. And wide receiver TJ Whaley, I mentioned in the knowns. TJ Whaley, he's poised for a name that you're going to need to know going forward. That'll do it for the practice report from Bellevue West. More to come as the weeks progress.